Here's another quick tip from Kimberly Hobscheid at I'm Hearing Stories. Hi, folks. It's Kimberly Hobscheid with I'm Hearing Stories, and I'm really excited to be talking to you today about a technical issue that a lot of people have questions about, like what is an audiobook quality standard? You've maybe heard me talk about it many times, and what are the standards for audiobook quality? And if you Google it, you can find out what people need to do in order to pass quality standards at the big platforms like iTunes, Audible, and Amazon, or Google Play, or Overdrive, or any of the others. That what is it that makes an audio quality standard? Can I just record anything from any phone? Can I just do it? I've actually had people ask, can I do it on my iPhone and record it? And you can try, but you're going to have to be able to audio engineer it afterwards and really do a good job with making sure that all of the noise in the background and stuff like that comes out. But I wanted to tell you specifically and give you the details of that. So number one, it needs to be consistent in overall sound and formatting. That means that chapter 1 and chapter 10 have to sound the same, even though you may have recorded them days or weeks or even more than a month apart. So they have to sound the same because the listener is going to listen to them maybe only an hour apart. So they really want that consistency throughout. So you can't be moving the mic around. You can't have different rooms that you're recording in, because those sounds will definitely affect the quality of the sound. Now you can, but oftentimes it'll get kicked back for that one. That's their number one listed on their site. And I'm just going to read from the site because it's important that I get all of the pieces. The second one that they list is it's got to be comprised of all mono or all stereo sounds, stereo files. So when you listen to music, you'll notice that there's two earphones and headphones. And when you listen, one side will be playing what's supposed to be in this ear, and one side will be playing what's supposed to be in this ear. Interestingly, and the human voice only comes from one channel. It doesn't come from two channels, right? So you can record it in stereo, but it'll be the exact same voice in both ears, or you can record them all in mono. But you can't have some in stereo and some in mono. They'll kick it right back for that. I actually did have one of our books rejected because there was one file which had switched into stereo when all the rest of them were in mono. So that's an audio quality engineering piece that you'll need to make sure that you're meeting when you deliver it that way. Next is that it needs to include the opening and the closing credits. And those credits are usually in a very specific format. So check with your platform. iTunes, Audible, and Amazon are all incestuous, and they are related to each other. They're all owned by Amazon, basically. Jeff did a great job with that, or maybe not a great job. He's a very smart man, but you got to give him that. But anyway, they're all owned by the same facility, so that means that they all are operating under the same quality standards there. So they have a very standard open and close. If you've ever listened to an audiobook on Audible, they all pretty much sound the same when they open up. It's this is Audible, and then it plays the audio credits, and they are all in the same format. So it is title of the book, written by, title of the the author's name, narrated by, and then the narrator's name. That's the opening. On the close, it's pretty much the same thing. It just says, this has been, and then the title of the book, written by, the author's name, narrated by, the narrator's name, and then it will do the copyright information on it as well. So it'll be the original copyright information of the book, and then it will give the copyright information for the audio production. Next is that it includes a retail sample. Now that's the part where somebody's going to be able to listen to just a taste of your book. And I recommend that you choose that very carefully, because if it's just the opening credits or something from an introduction and it's not a really good representation of the book, that's what they're going to base their choice of buying it on many times. So you may want to make sure that you you choose something really that's a really good intro to the book without any spoilers. And it's between 1 and 5 minutes. Really, an audiobook listener is not going to listen to much more than 1 minute of the book. They may listen to just a few seconds and say, yes, I want to buy, or no, I don't, because you can tell pretty quickly. But the sample needs to be between the 1 minute and the 5 minute range. Next, and I love this personally, it needs to be recorded by a human voice. That means that it cannot just be like Siri reading the book back to you. It actually has to be a human who has human inflection. And I love that this is one thing that that robots just aren't going to take over for us right now. Storytelling was the original human interaction between people, whether they were just telling a story of going down to the river today and picking up some water, or whether it was dry or not. Storytelling has been around by humans for a really long time, and looks like it will continue to be. All right, now we're going to get into some more technical formats of it. It needs to be in a 192 kpbs or higher MP3. And that's the only format it can be in. It's not a WAV format. There's probably 5 different audio files that you can have, but it must be in MP3, and it has to be in 192 kpbs or higher. And they all have to be consistent. So you can't have one that's higher and they come in jumps, but they should all be at 192 or all be at whatever level you're at. And then a consistent bit rate, CBR, at 44.1 kilohertz or higher. So that's something to watch out for. You've got to, there should be measuring tools on wherever your audio engineering is being done, whether it's on whatever software you're using. It also has to contain only 1 chapter per section, and the chapter needs to be, or the section needs to be less than 120 minutes. That means that if you have a really, really long chapter, and I actually had a 4.5-hour chapter, chapter 9 of one of the books that I did, and we had to break it into 3 sections because of that. Also, the section header must be read aloud. So if it's introduction or chapter 1, A Tale of Two Cities, or chapter 15, the evidence, or whatever it is, you have to read that out. Now you can just read chapter 15 or just the evidence, but you have to read the title of the section header must be read aloud. It has to have a small bit of what they call room noise, room tone at the beginning and at the end, so that there's just some sound. It can be whatever is in the background of the rest of your file, which should be very, very, very minimal, but it needs to have room tone at the head and at the tail of your audiobook. So there's usually about a half second at the very beginning, so it gives them a chance to hear chapter 1, and then a couple seconds, and then the beginning of the chapter. And then at the end, it gives a few seconds, but not too many seconds. So it's usually about 2 seconds at the end of the chapter for them to realize that the chapter has had a break. Next, it must measure between -23 and -18 dB RMS. So that's a measure that you're going to get also on your audio engineering file. So when you look at the WAV format, you can actually check to make sure it is, and then adjust the levels if you need to adjust them. But that is a measurement that you're going to need to do on all your files. It absolutely will kick back if it is not within that. Next, it needs to have -3 dB peak values. That's -3 decibels peak values, so that your shouts within it, or your emphasis within it, or even just your strong words within it do not go beyond that. And you'll have to use a limiter to do that, or other methodologies to do that. But you got to make sure that it's not any greater than that. And have a maximum of a -60 decibel noise floor. That means there can't be big fan noise in the background, or a jet engine consistently in the background, or whatever it is. You have to have very low noise floor. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to check audio submission requirements on Google, you'll be able to find them. You can look on the platforms for Audible, iTunes, and Amazon. They should have them as well. If you're going to Google Play, you can look there. But you're going to want to find out if you're going to be doing your own audio engineering, or you're going to have somebody do it for you. Those are the submission requirements. So you asked, I answered. I'm Kimberly Hobscheid. This is I'm Hearing Stories, and I look forward to working with you. All right, folks, that was another quick tip by Kimberly Hobscheit at I'm Hearing Stories. If you are ready to turn your book into an audiobook and open up a new stream of revenue from a book you've already created and break into a new market, we would love to work with you. Check out our website at www.imhearingstories.com, or you can email Kimberly at imhearingstories.com. And we're looking forward to working with you.